All right, welcome back to Aquatic Space, everybody. I'm Shane, and beside me is the Aquatic Space Station. You guys kind of get a little bit of a treat today. I didn't want to do this, but my video is getting a little behind, and so now I just pretty much talk from the future and play my older footage. Today is like July 27th, 28th, I don't know, something like that. And really this is video series back from I think early June. So really kind of gives it away. You guys are looking in the tank a little bit. But what I want to go over, and I haven't been able to cover because I didn't have a saturation lens, and ironically I'm not putting a saturation lens on right now, but you guys will get to see some pictures and some footage coming up here in a little bit of the AI primes. So that's it. That's what we're covering today, is these AI primes I installed. There's three big things when it comes to a reef tank. So, you know, you got fresh water, which is, it's difficult in its own right, especially when you're planting live plants in it, but still fairly simple. Then you got marine stuff like salt water, and you know, the sicknesses are a little more aggressive, and I think you find more hitchhikers, you get a little more curveballs thrown your way when it comes to marine fish. But then when it comes to a marine reef tank, then you're kind of, in my opinion, dealing with the apex of the fish tank hobby, if you will. So basically, there's three important things, like I was saying, that's important to help the coral animals grow, and the zooxanthellae within them. That's not as critical with fish. So what you need is water quality, which you need across the board, really with any animal that you're gonna, you know, take as a hobby or something. But water quality is a big one. Then you're gonna need flow, and we'll get into these in the coming weeks. Flow is gonna be a huge one. And then you got lighting. So you got those three things. You got water quality, flow, and then you got lighting. We got the AI primes today, and so we got them on the tank. Now, these AI primes are LEDs. If you guys, you know, some of you guys are well into this hobby, so I'm totally novice to you. Some of you guys are thinking about getting in the hobby, so you can learn a lot from this. So the LEDs is beneficial, and then they got pros and cons like the other ones. So you got three different light fixtures. We're gonna sit here and go in the threes, I guess. You got metal halides, if I'm saying it correctly. I don't really look at those. Those came in the hobby well before I got in the hobby. They're just basically a bulb with massive reflectors. They're big, they're bulky, they're ugly. And then you got T5s, which you can see up here. We got 6 T5s running, and those are like the fluorescent long bulb lights. They're a little special in their own way. That way they can grow corals. But so we got 6 T5 bulbs up here on a T5 fixture, and those are plug and play. So you just plug them in, and they'll grow coral. As long as you change the bulbs out about every 18 months, you're going to be fine. You'll be able to grow corals. You'll be able to grow diverse corals, and certain corals need certain things, and other corals need others. I'm not going to get all into that right now, but you're going to have softies, LPS, SPS, acros. You're going to have some corals that are they're non-photosynthetic. So I'm running a mixed reef tank, which is, again, debatably probably one of the hardest tanks to run, because you have corals that require different parameters. You got a whole slew of corals across the spectrum you're trying to please. So the safest bet for anybody who's not doing the research is to get a T5 fixture. Yes, it costs. It's I guess a little more costly. It pulls more energy out of your outlet. Again, you got to replace the bulbs, but they're kind of foolproof. The LEDs, they're more form-fitting. You can change the color scheme to what you want. They produce less heat on your water than T5s do. They're more energy aware, and you never have to replace the bulbs. So LEDs are really cool, and So what I'm running here is what a lot of reefers will run is a hybrid of some sort, and I've seen people they'll run all three of them, but what I'm running is an LED T5 hybrid. And so you'll see some videos where these AI primes they're expensive, but they're on the cheaper end. I mean, you got Radions, you got Kessels, and those lights will run you for a single puck, which is a puck would be one circular set of lights. Some of them have built-in two sets of lights, so they'll be considered two pucks on one light fixture. But for a single puck in Kessel, I believe you're looking at probably like $350. You know, same thing with Radions, you're gonna be looking around $400, $450. I could be a little off. Go ahead and go over and check these out. But these for one puck minus the arm is going to be about $205 or $210, something like that. So they're going to be the cheaper end. And I was afraid I didn't get good enough ones. I watched videos where they're like, I think my water from top to bottom is about 19 inches deep of water from the sand to the, like I said, the water line. And PAR, which we'll get into in a minute, but the power of your lighting and the penetration depletes very quickly as it goes through each inch of water. And so I wasn't sure if these lights would be able to penetrate to the bottoms where I got corals on the sand bed. I really had a skewed vision. I started thinking you had to buy the best of the best of the best, and that's just simply not the case. As you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to show you a little bit about how you get the AI primes running. There's an app you'll need, and it's simple, it's free. You just get it from the App Store. So we'll cover that right now so you guys get a little bit of that. I'm gonna give you about a 30-second video, just a sample. If you want to see the full video, I'll have a link in the description below. That way, if you do get them, you know how to install them fully. You can watch that video. Also, I'd like to take a minute real quick while I'm talking about links is go ahead while you're going down there if you're gonna search for that link and see how you set up your AI primes, or if you're thinking about getting them, and hit that like button or hit the dislike button. Definitely hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell next to it. The bell will give you the notification so the new videos coming out. So yeah, make sure you hit that stuff. Give me some comments, guys. That way I can answer back to you, and you know, and I can learn from the crowd. I can answer some questions, and I can do some videos over things you guys would like in the future. So go ahead and check that video out real quick. We'll leave a clip.
App. Click on the app. Right now I have 3 different settings, but you'll start out with none. You can set up your own, but you'll connect both of yours to a single setting, and the instructions will show that. And I'll click this bottom one. So I have mine named Aquatic Space Station, and it has 2 lights connected. So I can either click them all on or all off, and that'll change the lights, or I can have it go to schedule. Then I can go down here to control, and I'll be able to control my setting.
All right, now that we're back from that clip, you guys get a little bit of an idea of you know, kind of how the LEDs work. If you hopped on over the link, you'll get a little more description, but I'll explain a little bit here. Basically, for my setup, you can kill those corals quickly. I did a little example, and I had my A cans off the side, and from what I was understanding was the UV spectrum is what brings out their pigment. And so when you see on like the Discovery Channel and everything else, you see Reef. It looks pretty, but the colors aren't like overly exaggerated like neon lights on the New York Strip or whatever at night. But when you watch people as reefers, they can get those colors to pop. They typically go in the blue spectrum and the UV spectrum. But I had my UV down, and again, if you hop on over the other video, it should say my exact parameters. But I want to say with getting enough PAR from my T5s, I have my 2 AI primes a lot lower. I think I got like 30% of my UV coming out of them, and I wanted to see if the colors would pop more, and I knew there was a chance that I could fry my corals. So I went ahead and I cranked it up to about 80%. I toned down the rest of the day's worth of light so the corals didn't get as much. They got it all right there and then. And I would say about 60% through the ramp up, about 55 to 60% of the 80% par or the 80% output on the UV spectrum I was going for, the corals just started puking up their zooxanthellae. I could see it coming out of every single mouth, and so I quickly powered down the lights and got it back to normal. And before it was too bad, because I've seen it before, they slurped it back up. I didn't really have time to record that because I didn't want to kill my corals, just so everybody could see what they do. Yeah, so the point I'm getting at is don't get wrapped up in what everybody else says about you needing extremely high-priced lights. I'm not trying to knock all these other lights. If you got them, great. But most of these people is running all these LEDs like the Radion XR30s, I believe is the top ones. They're 2 puck. They're about $850 before tax. That's a crazy amount of lights. People run 6 or 3 pucks or three Radion XR30s, which is a total of 6 pucks across the top, or 4 or whatever. And those people do not have and they're running straight SPS, which means that they need the highest output, and they're not putting those lights out to 100%. I mean, some people may say they are, but I would have to watch that, because like I said, I'm running some T5 bulbs that I got passed down for me. I have no idea how old these are. I'm running my LEDs at 40%, and that's maxed out for these corals here really right now. I haven't rented a par meter yet. I'm not gonna buy a par meter. You can buy one from BRS. BRS is a good company. Y'all should hop on over there if you wanna know exactly the par range from top to bottom. You can rent one, I think it's $50 for a week, and I'll probably do that so I'm not eyeballing my corals. I can get them right in the range that I want them to be in. But I did talk to somebody else online who's running some AI primes, and they're saying I should be getting 250. Well, they said higher, but I don't know about that. They're saying up close to 450. I'm not quite sure about that on the par scale. But I do know that, you know, once I start getting to 55%, and I know they need to acclimate to it, but I don't think I could run 100% with these AI primes, even close. So I got plenty of power, plenty of light for them for 2 pucks at about $400, which is expensive, I know, but if you look at my past videos, I bought a light called the Chaeto Max, $70 LED light. Couldn't grow Chaeto for nothing. So I mean, if you want the quality, you gotta pay the money for it. But I don't necessarily think you need some of these really high-end ones if you're a person who's a little like don't have a lot of money. You know, I got a 73-gallon tank. I guess if you got like a 300 to 500 to 1,000 gallon tank, you probably need to start running some of those higher-end Kessels and Radions. But for the average person, these AI primes is going to hit most what anybody needs. And I'd run a T5 fixture just to make sure that you're not strictly using the LEDs, because you can kill corals. On that note, what's very important is that your corals can go a long time without light, okay? So if you have a power outage, light's the last thing you need to worry about. There's a lot of storms out in the ocean and stuff that last weeks at a time. There's times that corals don't get much light. They'll last a long time on low light. The problem is if you get too much light, they don't last very long. They can last hours before they start letting it all out, all their zooxanthellae, and they start bleaching and they could die. So make sure you're erring on the side of caution, so you're keeping your lights lower, and then if you need to, slowly increase them. I don't really mess with my spectrum much now. I did a little bit in the beginning with not good results, and I did watch videos that are like, you need to learn, do your research, set it, and leave it like that. And I would agree with them. Leave it like that. Maybe mess with it once every 2 months. You're not gonna see changes in your corals overnight. They grow slow as it is. So you're definitely not gonna see any sort of change by changing your lights one day and then changing the next. So go ahead and leave them setting, and then maybe at the very earliest, check them out in a 2-month time span. See if you get more growth than you did the previous 2 months. I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it. But just try to do your research if you're gonna do LEDs. If you don't wanna do all that research, and you don't want to download apps, you don't want to mess with tech, get T5s. If you do like you're a tech person, you do like the latest edge technology, get some LEDs and stuff. But yeah, I'm not covering much of the tank today. I really didn't want to sit in front of the tank. I wanted to sit in front of my computer or something else. I really didn't want y'all to see this tank this early on, because the next few videos you're gonna see me releasing some of these corals, some of these fish. I actually have a fish back there too. Not gonna give all that away. That's in upcoming videos. There's a reason why it's not here and over there. It's not just laying on the ground, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I figured as I was talking about this, some people who's new at seeing this, they might be like, he don't even have a tank or whatever. So I figured I'd sit in front of my tank and talk about the AI primes. I'm really pleased with them. Doing a T5 LED hybrid. They look really good. The T5s, like I said, with the plug and play, 3 bulbs will shut off. So like in the daytime or in the morning, I'll have 3 bulbs on, and then it actually runs on a timer. So then the next 3 will come on during noon. So it looks like it's ramping up, gets brighter, but it's immediate 3 bulbs on and 3 bulbs off. And then, you know, the LEDs actually ramp. And one thing I didn't show on that, but you can do a demo play of about 5 seconds, and you can go through your whole ramp settings and look at your tank and see it color up and then go down for your whole 24-hour period. It's a really cool setting. But I appreciate you guys' time. I hope you guys learned something. Let me know what you guys think.